Greetings, you're listening to the Cold Call Lawcast, the Minnesota Law School podcast featuring students from the University of Minnesota Law School, the University of St. Thomas School of Law, and the Mitchell Hamline School of Law. Welcome everyone to the Cold Call Lawcast. I'm Mitch, a law student at the University of St. Thomas School of Law, and with me are my co-hosts Hannah.
Hey!
From the University of Minnesota Law School, Anthony.
Hello.
From the Mitchell Hamline School of Law, and Abby.
Hello.
From the University of Minnesota Law School. On today's episode, we're going to be talking to Ashley Kiner.
Hello.
She is a 2L from Mitchell Hamline, and she's also an accountant. And so after we talk with her for a little bit, we'll also discuss some great topics in accounting. And so I'm sure everybody, after hearing that, you are now just glued to this podcast. So let's go ahead and begin. So Ashley, first let's start off. You know Anthony.
I do.
So first I'll apologize right there.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And then second, so you go to law school together.
We do.
And you also work together.
We do. It's a lot of Anthony.
It's a lot of Ashley. Too much.
And so Anthony is a paralegal.
I am
at the law firm that you both work at. And so what do you do for the law firm specifically?
I don't do a lot for them, but I'm in the accounting department.
Okay, and so what kind of daily work do you do as an accountant for the law firm? This is very fascinating for me, by the way,
Really?
because I work in finance and accounting for a company. So yes, it's
absolutely riveting.
This is riveting for me. Yeah.
So my busy times are at the end of every single month. I do a lot of like the reconciliations for the bank accounts and other general ledger accounts, and then day-to-day stuff, we just enter in all of our different transactions. We have a new software that we're trying to roll out. So,
what software are you rolling out?
Chrome River.
Okay, I don't think I've heard of that one.
Okay, so we're trying to make it work for us. So for the last 8 months, I've been working on that.
Okay.
So just testing stuff
And so is it all the general ledger will go into that system?
No,
or?
That system we're just using for expenses and for invoices. So all of the invoices we're getting in, I have to enter in, who it's coming for, the invoice amount, and the description of it, and then that's how we're going to be tracking everything.
Now, we could talk all day.
Drinking game every time Mitch says something boring, take a shot, do yourself a favor.
You're going to be wasted.
Don't get alcohol poisoning, however. We did not endorse that. But
right, we do not endorse
asleep,
we do not endorse binge drinking. That is right. So we'll put accounting to one side and then just ask a little bit more about your background. So what did you do before you went to law school at Mitchell Hamline?
So I did my undergrad at St. Cloud State, which I believe is where you went.
Yes, that is where I went as well.
About. I always had the...
Are you trying to say that St. Cloud State is boring?
No, I'm sure there are many fine alumni.
You're in the presence of two. You're in the presence of two. Okay,
that is awful.
We're just gonna take another drink.
So I always had the intention to go to law school. So picking an undergrad, I wanted something that financially could help me if I wasn't able to get a legal job.
Okay.
Just because I knew the career field wasn't great. So I chose accounting. I went through all of my accounting classes, absolutely hated accounting. But I didn't want to give up because I was going to go to law school, and you just need a bachelor's to get in.
Yep.
So graduated from St. Cloud, and I got a job as an auditor.
Okay.
And I did auditing at a accounting firm for a little over 2 years.
Are you able to say which accounting firm?
Probably not, because I don't like them.
Because I worked for one of the big four accounting firms.
I was not one of the big four. Mine was a very small one.
Okay, I didn't do any sort of accounting work for them, though. I just did like consulting. So
okay.
Tell us more.
Yeah. Do you want to know more?
Is that a shot
So I did
right there?
finance performance improvement consulting. It was
Hold on, I need
you
to
would
write
just,
this down.
Why are you writing in the air? There's no paper there. What the?
That's I was just gonna throw it away.
So I did accounting, auditing for them. I liked it because I got to travel a lot. And I met some really cool people, but I still wasn't like helping anybody. And that was the whole point of why I wanted to go to law school is I wanted to make a difference.
Okay.
And although I'm sure I was helping the businesses, I wasn't, impacting anyone's life. So my LSAT score was about to expire. So I applied to law school.
Okay.
How'd you
How
do
long
on the
did they
LSAT?
take to expire?
I did all right.
Yeah.
What?
How many years?
It's either 4 or 5.
It's 5 years.
5
yeah.
years? Yeah.
Wow.
So I took it way back in the day and almost let that expire. And I was like, I got to do it now if I don't want to retake it. And I did not want to retake it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That would be a major pain.
How much prep time did you put in doing your LSAT studying?
I did a class. I did, I can't remember the name of it.
Do you find that the class was helpful?
I did. Yeah. I really liked it. I think the biggest thing for me was it held me accountable because I actually physically had to go to a classroom and sit there and be taught.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to study for the LSAT like when I had a newborn and everything, and it was like the worst possible time
Yeah.
to try and study, so it didn't go that well.
Yeah.
But
Blame the kid.
I will.
You used to be
Yeah.
like me and not study at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took
Hey.
one practice test.
I took
and
one
then you're
practice test like
"Hey,
a week before the LSAT.
I'm good.
It worked out for you.
Well, I only applied to one school, so I guess it does.
I mean, the big thing why I wanted to do well on the LSAT was for scholarships. Like I think that's kind of the big thing for everybody nowadays.
Yeah, I should have took that into consideration. Really should have. And
I
it
didn't want
reflected.
to do well.
You didn't want to do well, Hannah?
No.
That's too punk rock.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you did
punk
do
rock.
well. So,
No,
no, yeah, what was your score?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's something high. Fucking nerd.
I don't. What was that test?
The
What was that even
LSAT?
called? Is that the one with pictures on it?
Yeah, that's what you took.
Yeah. Okay, I did okay on that one.
And so, where all did you apply, and kind of what was your process for determining that you wanted to go to Mitchell Hamline?
So I had just bought a house. So I was pretty much stuck in Minnesota unless I wanted to sell the house and lose out on that. So I applied to Mitchell Hamline and St. Thomas because I
Okay.
wanted to go part-time and the U of M didn't have a part-time program. I've always loved Mitchell Hamline, so I actually have a bunch of shirts that say William Mitchell
Oh,
because I visited the school like way back in the day. So that was my number one choice. I just liked the small community aspect of it. I applied to both. I got my acceptance from Mitchell Hamline first, and I was super pumped. I was like, this is where I'm going to go. This is, what it's going to be. And then a few weeks later, I got my St. Thomas acceptance letter, and their scholarship was like double what Mitchell Hamline offered me.
oh, should have gone there.
So
just
that was
saying.
my big dilemma. What I ended up doing is I took that scholarship to Mitchell Hamline, and I said, hey, do you want to match this? And they did. So that pretty much
Wow.
solved, yeah.
It's
Pro
ingenious.
tip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my second mistake. I only applied to one school. Had I done both, I could have negotiated. I mean, with my score, probably not. But they probably would offer the same. But it's in the back pocket in case people want to do
Yeah.
it.
I've heard of other people doing that, though. You can negotiate scholarships,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
those of you out there wondering.
And so, what have been the best and worst parts of your experience at Mitchell Hamline so far?
Having Anthony as a classmate.
That
Yeah,
is-
that's clearly the worst is having Anthony's
Oh,
classmate.
I was going to put that on the best.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
Best parts are by far the people, the students and the teachers. So I've made so many really good friends, and then the teachers are amazing there. There's teachers that will take time out of their day to help you out, even if it's their day off. I went in on the weekend that we did not have class this semester, and one of the teachers spent 3 hours with me just going over information I didn't understand from class. So the teachers are really great. Worst parts is the biggest thing that upsets me. I don't know how it is at other law schools, but our curve. So we had a teacher that told us, I think it was our first semester, that he could only give out 2 A's. So even if you earn an A in the class,
Yeah.
you get dropped down to a B.
Which class was that?
I thought it was crim law.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's
I don't
how
remember.
tight they want that bell to be curved
Yeah.
around that B, right?
Right.
I've had to try to teach like the other law school students like math and how like the bell curve works, because we're all on the bell curve of a 3.0.
Right.
So basically everybody's between the 2.0 and the 4.0, and it's a tight bell curve around that 3.0. So a lot of people are afraid they're going to fail. I have to kind of remind them, listen, you're not going to fail. It's just really, really hard to do well when you have such a low bell curve like that.
Right.
That's why I don't try.
So Anthony mentioned in one of the other podcasts that we had a teacher that told us that we pay too much money to be kicked out of law school. So you're not going to fail.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to. It'd be hard to fail law school. Although I think I know some students at St. Thomas that are, but
So names?
I can't do any names. But they never go to their classes. So
Oh,
We
yeah.
have
that
those
doesn't
too,
mean
and they're
anything.
still doing all right, I think.
Well, no, because technically in the syllabus, they're like, if you miss more than one class, you're like on probation or something like
Right.
that. Because we're on the every other weekend program, so like, if you're not there on your on weekend, you're missing 2 weeks of school basically. So
and that would be hard.
that would be really hard. Mm-hmm. You took 2 weeks.
Shush.
Is that hard? Did you take any time off like that?
did.
Did you?
I,
Was it tough getting back into it?
It was. And the teacher that I met with this semester for 3 hours was going over all of the stuff that I had just missed in one class. And
so
he
that's
was
nice.
he was like, why don't you understand this? And I was like, oh, yeah, I wasn't there. He was not happy, but
So what is it like to work full time as a professional and also go to school part time? Has it been? I guess what have the challenges been from your perspective?
it's been hard. So I just switched jobs like 8 months ago. And my old job as an auditor during our busy season, we're working 80-hour weeks. So that was just impossible. With my new job, I feel like they're super understanding and flexible.
It's also a law firm,
It
so
is.
that's really a lot better. Yeah.
So they're super supportive of what I'm doing too. And then the teachers, we're in the part-time weekend program. Our teachers know that we have full-time jobs. So there's days when I go to class and I'm not prepared, and it is what it is. I still remember there was one day, our very first semester in crim law, I sat next to this kid, Robert, and I got into class and I told him, I was like, I haven't done a single reading for today. And I got cold called. And Robert, without missing a beat, just recited all of the facts of the case without being
that's
called
super
on.
nice.
And then the teacher,
So wait. The teacher called on you.
and Robert was just spitting out facts.
Can you guys see that ever happening at your law school
No.
for university?
Well, I guess that's basically what happens every time in all my classes, because they don't really do cold calls, and like same kids just
Talk.
like snatch whatever opportunity they can get to.
We don't
Really?
They don't really in any of my classes.
We don't really have
They
that
always,
huge of a cold calling
like
either.
gear up for it, like they're gonna try and then forget. My professors, like all of them.
I think our first year, like in our first few classes, there was a lot of like, "Hey, tell us about this case," or if no one volunteers, or if no one volunteers, then maybe they'll pick someone or something. But or the teacher will just do it, which is kind of strange. But like it's usually volunteer basis, and it's the same thing. Like same 5 or 6 kids
Yeah.
always doing it.
So even in like your con law class, you didn't.
Con law, you started for like the first week just calling people out by their last names, and then slowly devolved it. Although today he started again because it was literally like the same 3 kids talking and he got frustrated. So if it's really dire, he'll like look back at the seating chart, but usually nothing.
Is that how it is in like the 2L classes at the U of M as well?
It varies a lot by professor, because in most of my 1L classes, unlike Abby's, did cold call in like more of a classic style. Some of them didn't, but most of them did. And then this year, let's see, of the 3 like traditional classes that I have, one teacher does pretty traditional cold calls. One does a system where it goes in order, alphabetical, so you know when you're going to get called.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and then the other one doesn't cold call unless like it becomes necessary. She's too nice.